Hello everyone, my name is Michael, and today I'm playing沙耶の唄. So, I was a little bit hesitant to play this visual novel due to controversial elements, for which at the beginning of this video I did put a disclaimer about the controversial elements I said before, so I'm not gonna go too much into them since I already brought them up in text. However, yes, this game is very controversial, so that's why I'm doing a recording of it rather than streaming. Yeah, due to the nature of this game, there may be some elements that I may have to self-censor or just not have in the YouTube version of these videos. I might be posting another version on other platforms in case this breaks YouTube's terms of service. I'm still figuring stuff out as I go because I've never really played this game. I just heard how disturbing it was. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and try it out, because I just know it's a disturbing, messed up game, and I'm like, you know what? Let's read video of this. Or let's read video series. I'm gonna decide that as I play the game, but yes. That's just my initial, thoughts going into this game. I know it's controversial, so that's why I'm doing a recorded video series of it, so I could self-censor it, as I upload it to YouTube, and if I censor it quite a bit, I might post another version on another platform. What that platform would be and what I will be doing is up to be decided very soon, but yeah. Let's go ahead and go right into it. By the way, I hate this title screen. I hate it so much. I cannot tell. I cannot tell if, my game is lagging or if this is supposed to look like this, so I'm gonna go ahead and press start. This story is a work of fiction. The procedures and conditions described herein are imaginary and... Okay, so it's just not real. This work of fiction contains grotesque images that may disturb some viewers. Please select how you would like to see such images. Do not modify... Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest, I'm just not gonna modify it. This is the recorded version, so I'm not streaming. So I can just look at all the gross gore. Holy shit! Okay, we go right into... Okay. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. The wriggling mask of flesh burbles. I don't even think I need to do my own. It's literally saying that. It's literally saying that. Do I want to try figuring out what you're trying to say? Should I even try? 3 such creatures sit around the table in front of me, slurping filthy sludge from their cups as they trade wines, growls, and sounds that I cannot describe. I can finally hear the unedited versions of these sound clips. They're probably just very normal conversations too. I really want to hear what the edited versions of these sound like. Oh. Whoa. Whoa. By listening carefully, I am able to grasp the gist of their conversation and respond when it is required of me. This is necessary to avoid arousing their suspicion. However, these creatures look. They are my friends, apparently. I wish I could still deny it. I gave up on that a long time ago. Night after night, I went to sleep praying for an end to this nightmare, only to wake each morning to the same twisted hellscape as the day before. Oh, now that I have to blend in, I have to act like one of them, such has been my life these past 3 months, and so will remain until the day I die. Judging by his tone, this one must be Koji, and the one next to him, schooling more than the others, is probably Omi. Which means that the one next to me is Yul, though I can no longer see any trace of her once attractive features. I try my best to ignore the running stench of the excrement that issues from her quivering flesh. Sorry, this is not meant to be funny. This is not meant to be funny, but someone who edits audio, I can appreciate the time and effort they spent to mess up that audio that much. And it's for a serious game. Like, usually, you use these edits for meme edits. However, they're using it for a serious game. Yeah, this is like a serious game, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, but literally the sounds of what, the garbled up voice of his friends in this hellscape, like, it's just somewhat funny to me. Everything has changed. Or almost everything. By some cruel trick of fate, my relationship to the world alone remains the same. As if an insane architect took the blueprint of my life and rebuilt it out of blood and grit. These monsters and I were part of the same college club. We studied together, ate together, we even went skiing together every winter break. Now, these are but painful memories of days that will never return. If only no one would recognize me, I might have been able to disconnect myself from the world. It would have been more comforting, in comparison, to believe that I had been abducted by aliens, or that I had stumbled through the gateway to hell. But no. This is beyond a doubt the city where I was born and raised. The society that I was a part of for 20 years. Save that I alone can no longer see it that way. The world as I knew it is gone. I have no place to call home. If a lot of the conversations in this game are going to end up like these, at some point I'm going to recognize which one of his friends is using what tone. Like, the tone of the edits. Because I feel like that's going to be consistent throughout the game, because whenever there's a character that is close to this main character comes up, they're going to have the same sound font put to them whenever they try speaking, even though it's all gargled up. They're still going to have the same voice font. Anyway, I can tell whatever they're discussing is of no importance to me. I decided to keep quiet while pretending to listen. Just then. One of the flesh beasts says as it swivels its bloodshot eyes towards me. What do you think? I tried desperately to suppress my loathing and behave normally, but my hoarse voice ruins the attempt. A stunning hole near the top of the creature writes nauseously as it vomits some semblance of words. That must be Koji's face, or what I would have seen as such 3 months ago. Unable to stomach the sight of it, I rubbed my eyes and gave a neutral answer.
Yeah, it's...
These were my closest companions. One of them had even wished to be more. How many nights have I spent crying in loneliness, lamenting the friends who no longer exist? In 3 months, my tears ran dry. There's only loathing left. Surrounded by hideous creatures, I could only assume are Koji, Omi, and Yo. I spend each day trying to act as I always have, If I fail at this, I'll surely be sent back to the hospital. Only this time, I'll be locked away forever. No matter what, I won't let that happen. That's it. I can't look at them, but bears are screeching any longer. I jumped to my feet, desperate to escape. A spray of stringy slime from the cilia around its voice box flies at me. I try to cover myself, but too late to keep the slime from splattering across my face like the yolk of a rotten egg. I'm about to lose it. I want to grab a chair, a desk, anything within reach, and use it to smash the life out of this creature, ending it all. I barely suppressed the impulse. Mustn't let on that something was wrong. However they look to me, it's their world. I'm the outsider here. Struggling to put on a smile, I reach into my wallet, pull out the first bill I find, and put it on the table without even looking at it. I don't care about the change. I just need to get out of here now. I mutter hastily and flee the cafeteria. I'm not crazy.
ねえねえ、今度のスキーだけどさ、今年はどっかスケートも遊べるところにしない？
Says Takahata Omi. Tsukuba Yo frowns at the suggestion.
スケート？わざわざスキー場にまで行ってスケート？
勘弁してやってくれよ、つくば。こいつ今そっちにハマってんだ。
Tono Koji supports Omi with a laugh. Her impromptu suggestions are nothing new, and it's Koji's role as her boyfriend to provide backup. They are a good match for each other, Yo thinks. Sometimes it makes her jealous.
なんせオウミってさ、この前この年になって初めてスケートやったんだ。
何よ、スケートしたことなかったのがそんなに不思議？20
歳になって初体験ってのは興味そうそういないんじゃないかな。
When did I first skate? I think I was like, I want to say it was like 10 because for some reason in my gym class we did some skating lessons. Because our gym floor was not like a normal gym floor, it was like a rubber floor, so we could do some skating on it. Like, very limited skating at that, but it was like this weird rubber floor that was a bit easier for elementary schoolers. Yeah, I kind of remember that when I was 10. So I think that was the first time I skated, but it was not ice skates, it was roller skates. I don't think I've ever been ice skating though. Yeah, I should have probably clarified that I meant roller skating, not ice skating, because people have been like, how do you ice skate on rubber?
子供の頃はなんとなく怖かったのよ。あの靴、なんだか刃物みたいでさ。
I wonder if they still have that rubber floor in the gymnasium at my old elementary school. It's been like decades, so I have no clue if they kept that. Yeah, for over a decade in the school, like being built in the 1970s, they probably updated the gym by this point, I think.
でも、いきなりやって滑れたの？大見ちゃん、すごくない？
要領はスキーとそう変わるもんじゃないからな。重心を前に出して靴の前のヘリでコントロールする感覚とか。
コウジにそう言われたもんだからさ、騙されたと思ってやってみたわけよ。そうしたらもう楽しくって。
So it was a date. Yo feels a stab of envy. Koji and Omi enjoy their time together, as normal lovers do. That's certainly not something that should make her jealous. It's just that her luck and love has been bad.
私も見てみたいな。大見ちゃんがスケートやるところ。
Yo keeps her voice upbeat, trying to cover her disquiet. She knows that it's wrong to envy her friends. She too would be spending time with the man she admires, if not for the terrible tragedy that befell him. His is true misfortune. Her bad luck doesn't begin to compare.
だからさ、ね、今度のスキー旅行、ついでにスケート旅行にしちゃえば2倍美味しく楽しいってわけよ。
でもさ、スケートはスケートリンクに行けばできるじゃない。わざわざスキー場に行ってまでやる？
It's the vacation that is the fun part, not the rink.
だから屋内じゃなくてさ、屋外スケート、凍った湖とかで滑れるところ。
そんな都合のいいとこあるかな。なんだかすっごく混んでそう。
Now just find like a lake in the middle of nowhere and start skating in it. There will be no crowds. But maybe a higher probability of falling under the ice. While speaking, Yo sneaks a sideways glance at the young man sitting next to her. Although the conversation has involved only 3 people so far, there are in fact 2 couples at the cafeteria table. Yo's boyfriend, though there's still some doubt over whether he could be called that, is beside her, as silent and expressionless as a statue.
なあ、文則。お前はどう思う？
Perhaps Koji sends Yo's pain, in his usual quiet and considerate way.
どうって。
Oh, wait. Oh, this is interesting. So, are we going to be getting scenes from Fujimori's viewpoint of the weird hellscape that's full of flesh, and then go into the real world to show how he interacts or, reacts to his friends talking? Oh, that's interesting. So, we're seeing both versions of his world and the real world, or the world for everyone else. Like, the world for everyone else and his world. I'm going to make clarifications throughout this video so that I don't accidentally, try to, push down Fujimori until I learn more about him. But there's a Fujimori world and the everyone else world that we're seeing right now. Fujimori's world is full of, like, these hellish creatures that are full of flesh. Meanwhile, the everyone else world is, like, normal. Meanwhile, Fujimori feels a little bit more distant after his accident. Very interesting. I wonder if this accident... This is just speculation here, but maybe the accident maybe caused him to have some brain damage, and that's why he's seeing the world as this. The cause of Yo's distress, Sakisaka Fujimori, responds to Koji's sudden query with a vague, mumbled question of his own.
いや、だからさ、今年の冬のスキーだよ。お前も行くよな。
Koji speaks gingerly, as though probing a tuber. A few months ago, he would not have hesitated to rebuke Fujimori for his attitude. Fuminori, not Fujimori, Fuminori. Rebuke Fuminori for his attitude. Their long acquaintance had forged a strong and honest friendship. But now...
わからない。
Fuminori responds bluntly, his downcast eyes and sullen demeanor making it clear that he has no desire to break his silence.
何か他の予定でもあるのか？
いや、別に。
Even Koji, Fuminori's best friend, cannot communicate with him as before. What hopes does Yo have of breaking through his shell? The scars left by the events of that late summer day are still deep all these months later. Each one of the 4 bears them, not only Fuminori.
なあ、別に運動するのが傷に触るとかそういうわけでもないんだろ？
どうだろうな。今日の診療で先生に聞いてみる。
As though that answer drained the last of his patience, Fuminori bolts out of his chair.
おい、文則！
Even Koji can't keep his voice from rising as he tries to stop Fuminori from leaving. Fuminori reacts swiftly, throwing his hand over his face, as though to shield himself from something terrifying. Maybe some spit flew inadvertently from Koji's mouth, but that happens sometimes. Fuminori's reaction is beyond the pale.
だから今日も診療なんだ。もう時間だから。
Fuminori snaps, making no attempt to relieve the discomfort of his friends. Even as he tosses money on the table to pay for his coffee, he acts like he's touching something filthy.
それじゃあ。
Fuminori stalks out the cafeteria, almost as if he's running away. Cloaked in heavy silence, the remaining 3 lower their gaze to the table, where the abandoned 10,000 yen bill sways forlornly. Fuminori's coffee is untouched.
やってられないわね。
Omi says with a sigh, but Koji shakes his head reproachfully.
文則にはもう少し時間が必要なんだと思う。
だってもう3ヶ月よ。なんなのよあれ。付き合ってるこっちが変になりそうよ。
I mean, 3 months is not that long of time to recover from a fucking head injury. I think it is a head injury that Fuminori has. So, that could take a longer time than 3 months to fix. Or, not really fix, but to recover from.
俺だってわからない。わかるはずもないと思う。お前だって想像つくか？あんなひどい形で家族全員を奪われて平気でいられるわけないよ。
So this makes Omi a bit more of an inconsiderate character then. He lost his fucking family as well as having a head injury. Like I thought it was just a fucking head injury. No, he lost his family. That's pretty intense. It could have happened to anyone. A tractor trailer flipped over on the highway, crushing the Sakisaka family car into twisted scrap. They said it had been difficult to tell the bodies of Fuminori's parents apart. For a while, it looked as if there was no hope for Fuminori either. It was nothing short of a miracle that he was able to leave the hospital and return to a normal life.
見舞いに行った時なんてもっとひどかったじゃないか。誰が誰かも分からずに怯えて暴れてベッドに縛り付けられて。今はよくあそこまで立ち直ってくれたと思う。
それにしたって変よ、咲坂くん。私たちのこと見る目つき、あれ何なの？まるでこっちが人間じゃないみたい。
よせ、近江。
Koji says forcefully, probably less out of empathy for his friend than out of consideration for Yo. While Koji's kindness makes her happy, Yo also knows that she mustn't take advantage of it. Fuminori is the victim, just as Koji said. He's the one who most deserves sympathy. Yo's feelings for Fuminori are her problem, and no one else's. She doesn't blame Fuminori for not giving her an answer after she worked up the courage to ask him out. In fact, she thinks even more fondly of him for taking the time to consider than she would have had he treated her. I'm gonna repeat this entire line. In fact, she thinks even more fondly of him for taking the time to consider than she would had if he treated their relationship casually. Apparently, the fact that Fuminori did not reject her was enough to make them a couple in Koji and Omi's eyes. They've had plenty of fun at Yo and Fuminori's expense since. The truth of it, though, is that he still hasn't given her an answer. After revealing her feelings to him, Yo didn't see Fuminori again until a week later, and then she could only stare at his broken body through the window of the ICU. And when he was finally released, after 50 days that seemed an eternity, he was somehow different. She's starting to doubt that he even remembers what she confessed to him before the accident. Now winter is coming, and her feelings hang forgotten in the cold, lonely air. And back to Fuminori. Oh, Doctor's office. Ooh, okay. Dr. Tambo Ryoko has never had a more troublesome patient.
その後の経過はどうですか、咲坂さん。
いいえ、別段。これといって問題もなく。
His voice is hard and flat. His words tossed carelessly into the air. It's like he's speaking to himself in an empty room. Ryoko is a surgeon, not a psychiatrist. But even she can sense the thickness of the wall he has erected between himself and the world.
吐き気やめまい、幻聴や幻覚といった体験は？
Maybe you should be honest about the last one.
いえ、何も。
And he's not honest. While Sakisaka appears to be looking at Ryoko, his gaze is actually aimed at a faction down into the side. He's only superficially engaged in the conversation, when in truth, it does not interest him in the slightest. Perfect rejection. Realizing that she can't interview him like this, Ryoko sighs and sets her chart aside.
咲坂さん、あなたが当院で受けた処置は脳神経医学の分野では世界的に最先端の治療でした。そのことはご存知ですよね。
Treatment of the subdural hematoma through the use of micromachines. A procedure available in Japan exclusively here, at T University, have been the only way to save Sakisaka Fuminori from a cerebral contusion that should have been fatal. What is the subdural hematoma? Treatment of subdural hematoma. Is that part of the brain? Hold on, I'm gonna look this up. Since this is a recording, I can actually look stuff up and, like, you know, cut around to when I find out the answer to this. So that's, like, the best part about recording. I can literally look some stuff up while I'm playing. So, subdural hematoma. Subdural hematoma, as its name implies, forms because of an abnormal collection of blood under the dura mater. This is one of the intracranial injuries associated with abusive head trauma, especially in pediatric patients. I mean, Fuminori is like 20. At the same time, though, he got in a bad car accident, so that kind of makes sense why he would get something like this. A small bleed may resolve spontaneously. However, a larger bleed may increase the distance between the bridging veins and lead to an extensive amount of blood around the brain, ultimately leading to herniation of the cerebral structures. This activity highlights the role of interprofessional team in caring for patients with this subdural hematoma. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this article that I found from the National Library of Medicine, so I'm just gonna link this to the video itself. I feel like I could link, like, you know, actual documents of, like, health conditions onto YouTube. Like, I know that YouTube does not like some links. However, I feel like this is a decent enough link. Yes, it's a .gov link, and .gov links are a little shady these days, but at the same time, though, this is probably good enough information because this is just, like, you know, an article about a literal, like, condition that could happen to the brain when it gets damaged. So yeah, let me go ahead and get back into the game. Ooh. My cat has the zoomies right now. I was going to tuck him in earlier, but he did not want to go to sleep, so he's having the zoomies right now. So you will hear scratching from the background. From a cerebral contusion. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to look up that one.
最先端であるということは、まだまだデータの出揃っていない危険性の伴う治療法だったという意味でもあります。
Unexpected complications. I wonder if Fujimori has any.
そうでしょうね。
Sakisaka Fuminori's lips twist slightly in what might be a bitter or mocking smile, but it is gone before Ryoko can discern its meaning.
普通こんなことを言って脅かすのは医者として問題なんですが、施術後に重大な脳障害をきたしたケースも報告されているんです。予後の経過には十分に注意しなければなりません。
Also, I have a message I need to respond to real quick. I'm doing this, like, well, technically it's not work hours because I work, you know, on my own hours, but I need to respond to this message real quick. This is where I am no longer messaging people. Hence these weekly checkups. If only he would take them a little more seriously.
先週の MRI はどうでした？
Sakisaka asks abruptly, as if to catch Ryoko off guard. Oh. Okay, so he does have a character sprite. MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, is a way for doctors to examine the brain in detail without opening the patient's skull. Surprised by Sakisaka's uncommon technical knowledge, Ryoko recalls his profile.
そういえばあなたも医者の卵だったわね。
先生が心配しているような脳機能不全は画像診断だけでも十分にわかるはずですよね。
いいえ。
There is nothing, not the slightest hint of abnormal activity. For a procedure with such a low rate of success, the results have been nothing short of miraculous. However, something still bothers Ryoko. She can't shake the feeling that he's hiding something beneath his guarded exterior. Some terrible weight on his soul, perhaps. But if it's an inorganic problem, then there's nothing else she can do as long as he refuses to explain it.
大丈夫ですよ先生。現に僕は今こうして病院の外でも何不自由なく生活しています。問題なんてないでしょ。
ねえ咲坂さん、こういった難しい手術は予後不断が原則なんです。もう少し私たちを信用してもらえませんと。
I hear Tom messing with the box now. He might be taking a little break in there.
そうですよね。僕だって先生方を信用したい。どんな相談にも乗ってもらえるんですか？
ええ、もちろん。
Ryoko answers, smiling to cover up her irritation. Sakisaka asks exactly the same question during last week's visit.
じゃあ先週の話の続きなんですが、先生、あれから大貝教授については何か分かりましたか
？Unable to answer, Ryoko hardens the mask of her smile. As before, Tom! Tom! Okay, he leapt out of his box and started running across the entire downstairs floor before running up the stairs. He is going insane right now. Oh, wow. Yeah, he is going a little crazy. As before, the patient is inquiring about someone whom he has no business knowing.
大貝教授のことは、あなたの治療とは何の関係もないでしょ？
信頼しろと言った矢先にいきなり隠し事ですか？
Ryoko is used to patients treating her with hostility. Some degree of paranoia is natural when dealing with a person whose mistakes could kill you. In Sakisaka, however, she doesn't see the anxiety that other patients exhibit. His demeanor is perfectly calm, almost like a detective questioning a suspect.
何分、だいぶ前にここを辞められた方ですからね。私個人としても交流があったわけではないし。
辞めた理由はご存知ない？
ええ、おそらく個人的な事情でしょうね。
Ryoko answers smoothly, her earlier hesitation gone. Having decided at the outset to lie, she has no trouble doing so with a straight face.
それにしても、咲坂さん、なぜあなたはそんなに大貝教授にこだわるんです？お知り合いですか？
教授は今失踪中なんです。知ってましたか？
いいえ。
Ryoko realizes that her answer may have been a little too quick. She should have acted more surprised.
近頃教授の身内の人間と恋にしていましてね。その人から調査を頼まれているんです。
A relative. Ryoko considers this with a frown.
大貝教授に縁者の方はおられないはずですが。
おお、誰から聞きました？
それは噂話に。
Ryoko replies, remembering that she just claimed to have no contact with the man.
なるほど。そんなことが噂になる程度には大貝教授は有名人だったわけですね。
まあ一風変わった人だったみたいですね。
なのに誰も彼が大学を辞めた理由を知らないと。
Ryoko falls silent, knowing that this isn't a topic she could brush away with a smile. Sakisaka seems to finally grasp her mood, however, as his strangely stiff tone softens a little.
先生、僕はどうしても大貝教授に会わなきゃならないんです。彼がいなくなったせいで行く当てがなくなり困っている子がいるんです。力になってもらえませんか？
それはむしろ警察の領分なんじゃないかしら。
Although she makes it sound like the most obvious thing in the world, the suggestion is actually a gamble. If Ogae Masahiko's disappearance becomes a police matter, then the university will be investigated. Everyone who's involved in the incident will be at risk of exposure. And of course, that includes Ryoko herself. She knows, however, that Sakisaka is unlikely to go to the police. First of all, his excuse is obviously a lie. They already made sure that Ogai had no relatives who might come looking for him, which is why they could bury the truth of what happened. But then, how did Sakisaka, a mere patient, learn about Ogai?
咲坂さん、私の知っている範囲のことは喜んでお教えします。ですが、大貝教授は今年の4月に辞表を出して、以後は何の音信もないんです。どこか長期の旅行にでも行かれたか、その程度しか想像つきません。
そうですか。
Expecting resistance, Ryoko is surprised when Sakisaka backs down. She's so worried about his condition, and the mysterious link between him and Ogai is only making her more uneasy. But as long as he doesn't open up to her, there's nothing she can do. After a brief pause, Ryoko writes progress good on Sakisaka's chart for today.
咲坂さん、それでは来週の診察ですが、今日と同じ4時でも。
Before she can finish, Sakisaka is gone. It looks like someone sprayed the walls with pig guts from ceiling to floor. What color should the walls of a hospital be? White, of course. And to the creatures of rotten flesh shambling around me, I'm sure this hallway looks just as white as it should. I know, intellectually, that the walls are white. I know that flesh beasts are really human. I'm the one with the problem. It's because I've accepted this that I'm able to lead something approaching a normal life. Even if my university's medical department is nowhere near as good as T University's, I'm still a medical student specializing in neurology. I have a basic idea of what has happened to me, though it's hard to believe. This isn't a pathological condition. It's probably some form of agnosia, unlike anything that has been studied before. Agnosia? Agnosia? What is agnosia? Agnosia. So, agnosia is a rare disorder whereby patients cannot recognize and identify objects, persons, or sounds using one or more of their senses, despite otherwise normally functioning senses. This activity reviews the evaluation and management of agnosia and highlights the role of the interprofessional team in recognizing and imagining agnosia. Okay, so agnosia. Agnosia is a rare disorder whereby patients cannot recognize and identify objects, persons, sounds using one or more of their senses despite otherwise normally functioning senses. I'm reading this a bit too fast, and there's a lot of big terms that I partially understand in this. Memory, attention, language problems, or unfamiliarity with the stimuli cannot explain the deficit. One of the sensory modalities is affected. For example, a patient with agnosia may not be able to identify a cup by sight, although they may be able to tell its color and identify it by touch, by its shape and texture. It is not the same as anomia. Anomia is a naming disorder in which patients cannot name an object despite using their other sensory modalities like touch and smell. Classically, there are two forms of agnosia, apperceptive and associative. Okay, so I'm gonna briefly go over this introduction and then I'll go back to the game. Apperceptive agnosia is a failure in recognition due to deficits in the early stages of perceptual processing. Associative agnosia is a failure in recognition despite no deficit in perception. Associative agnosia patients can typically draw, match, or copy objects, while apperceptive agnosia patients cannot. It might be associative agnosia we were literally going over his name earlier. Sakimori is going through. Sakimori? No, Fuminori. Oh my god, I could not remember the main character's name. Yeah, Fuminori. So Fuminori probably has associative agnosia from what I'm seeing. There are three types of agnosia based off of the type of sensation involved: visual, auditory, tactile. I think we're mainly getting the visual and auditory. There's a lot of definitions here. Yeah, since I am not a doctor myself, I'm mainly doing a let's read of a video game. I'm not gonna go too much into detail about what condition I'm going to be diagnosing Fuminori with, but when I finish the game, and if it's never been fully answered, or if it's not going to be fully answered, if people want, you know, an untrained person to diagnose Fuminori, please let me know down in the comments below. Like, I'm really interested in looking more into this condition. However, there's a lot of stuff on this page that I'm looking at, and at the same time, I am not a professional. But this is a video game character, so technically I'm not diagnosing anyone in an official capacity, so I'm not breaking any rules here. But I'm doing a Let's Read right now, so I'm not going to be diagnosing Fuminori. The flesh beast called Tambo Ryoko said that other patients had developed neurological disorders after receiving the same treatment I did. So I guess I'm just another failure. It makes me want to laugh in that know-it-all doctor's face. That said, I don't blame the doctors who operated on me. After all, I do owe them my life. I know as well as anyone how low the chance of success was, and that I had no other hope of survival. I was unlucky. That's all there is to it. The point is that my condition isn't treatable. Just like someone adapting to a hearing aid or wheelchair, I have no choice but to adapt to this nauseating scenery. Of course, it's hard. It wasn't easy to resign myself to this fate. But now there's more than just despair. Even for me, there is a glimmer of hope. Keeping my eyes on my feet, I hurry home. Alright. So I'm actually going to head and end this video right here. I was planning on making this first video very short to get, you know, the vibe of this game, and I'm pretty much vibing with this game so far right now. Open save load menu. Let's go ahead and save. Yes, save. Save in the slot? Yes, will do. But yes, thank you everybody for watching this video of mine. I'm probably going to be playing more of this game in the future. This is going to be a recorded only series due to the content of this game. I'm not risking live streaming it. However, this is still a really interesting game that I do want to make more content on. So thank you everybody for watching this video, and I'll see you all next time.
Okay, okay.